going on, everybody? I'm praying to God that in this fourth recording of Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears, anybody can hear me. So Jamal Edwards, Germ, if you can hear me, please say something, brother. Because I know Tony can hear me based off of that reaction, but earlier today I was talking to myself for about 35 minutes, and that was incredible. Germ, let's go. Germ said he could hear me.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. We're back. We're back, baby. And I'm not going to be as energetic. I'm not going to be as excited as I was the first few times. If you're in the TikTok live or you could communicate with me in any way, shape, or form over the last few hours, you just had to be there. But the point of today was, first of all, shout out Martin Luther King Jr. It's Martin Luther King Day. Happy MLK Day to everybody and everywhere. This is a huge day for everybody. It was also the introduction to the new president of the United States of America. Because I refuse to remain political. I will not say his name or anybody's name on my podcast. But we had that happen today. So those were two big days in America. But number 3, Tom, probably the biggest, the best, without a doubt, my favorite. Independence Day for the Chicago Bears and all of Chicago. Ben Johnson is officially a Chicago Bear. Tone, I know you were playing NCAA today, so break down to me how you found out the news and how you feel about it, man.
So I actually got it from you because, believe it or not, I didn't get it from ESPN or anything like that. Like, I saw the news from you. I was like, oh, snap. Because I had also just got the notification that Lou Anarumo, whatever Lou's name is, the former defensive coordinator for the Bengals, is now the defensive coordinator for the Colts. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that move yet. I'm a little skeptical about that. But no, I got the news from you right off the bat, and I'm going to be honest, I'm really surprised because the Chicago Bears did 2 things. One, it seems like they finally listened to the fans. They got who the fans wanted, because I think most Bears fans wanted Ben Johnson. They did not want the Mike McCarthy's. I think Brian Flores would have been cool. However, I'd have a lot of questions on how he would treat Caleb, because obviously he was not a fan of Tua, and that offense in Miami when he was the head coach was doo-doo when Tua was the quarterback for him and he was the head coach. But most importantly, they went with the best candidate that I feel they needed. They needed the young, unproven offensive coordinator turning head coach. Because I'll be honest, if they went with Mike McCarthy, I'd had a lot of questions. They've had chances to see Mike McCarthy for almost 20 years, because I think he took over for Green Bay in 2006, 2007, I think.
They go around the same ballpark, yeah.
So I mean, that's 18 years he's been at least a head coach, if not having taken 1 year off after he got fired and then became the head coach of the Cowboys. It's like, okay, what more do you need to see? He managed to get to 1 Super Bowl and win it. Cool. But he ain't ever sniffed it since.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would rather go with the kid that, as far as what he's done for Jared Goff's career, what he did with the Lions in that entire offense. Now, you can maybe make an argument that's kind of hard to do because of all the talent that Detroit has. It's kind of hard to not be successful, but the potential, though, and the potential for a young quarterback that has all the potential in the world, former Heisman winner, came in with a lot of praise. And again, like you and I talked about a couple weeks ago, the fact that the kid still threw 35 touchdowns, I believe it was 26 touchdowns to, 5 picks or something like that?
20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Yeah. For him to be able to do that, for as dysfunctional as the Bears have been all season with Matt Eberflus, Shane Vereen, all of them as the offense and whatnot, that's still pretty damn good. And now he finally gets an offensive mind to really, harness that and hopefully help that grow.
Can I say something like brother to brother?
Yeah.
You do this thing that impresses me every time you do it. It doesn't happen often, but it happens sometimes. You'll give a guy a cooler name than his actual name. We were doing that with Devontae the one week, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And somehow, some way, Shane Waldron, who has the lamest name out of just turned into Shane Green. Let me tell you something about Shane Green. If he was the offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, Shane Green would currently be the new head coach, and Ben Johnson would be on his way to Las Vegas, because Shane Green is a name I could get behind. That's a country boy name out there. I'm rocking with Shane Green.
Old Shane Green.
I don't know how you come up with these, bro, but they blow my mind every time we do this. But No, bro, I'm with you. And the best tweet today was Barstool Sports Chicago. Shout out Barstool, because they hit us with the "we beat the Mike McCarthy" allegations, and that was everything. I was so nervous about Mike McCarthy entering this room, and I'm gonna say it now. Like, if Mike McCarthy ends up winning the Super Bowl wherever he goes, by all means, go crazy, bro. Have yourself a McRib or whatever you do. Probably not a diet Dr. Mountain Dew. Dr. Mountain Dew. See, we're
Dr. Mountain Dew, hey, we doing it.
shit up. We're just doing it. But no, man, it's definitely something for me where we watch these guys come in and out of this organization year in and year out, and then go have success elsewhere. To get the guy who was the number one guy in the NFL draft,
Mm-hmm.
and then to get the guy who's the number one guy going into this year in the head coaching hunts, that's everything. I mean, the Bears finished second to nobody in back-to-back years, and sure, Jaden Daniels is playing in an NFC title game. That is what it is. That has nothing to do with Caleb. But what I will say is this: we got the guy that we wanted. Everybody wanted Caleb. I think you and I were really the only ones, and other LSU fans would say that they knew Jaden was as good as he was because we watched every single one of his games. But I'm still a huge Caleb fan. I still love what Caleb was able to do. I still think, for years to come, it's going to be him and Jaden going back and forth. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. When we talk about elite quarterbacks in the NFC, Tony, give me your crystal ball for the next 3 years. In 2028, can you name me your top 3 NFC elite quarterbacks? When we talk elite, we're talking elite.
Right. Ooh, because that's the thing with the NFC. The NFC, they don't have the talent like the AFC does. So some of these, when I look at the NFC, I'm like, man, I'm gonna almost be reaching when I probably say some of these names. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to put Jaden there. And I do want to add one real quick thing that you said with Caleb and Jaden. I think, all honesty, even if you had switched those, even if Jaden had been the number one pick and then Caleb went to Washington, I still feel like the paths would have been really similar. So it's one of those, maybe it just happened to work out better. I still think with the athleticism that both of them have and whatnot, I think both would succeed really no matter what. So I would be a fan of either one. If I had to pick an elite quarterback by, you said what, 2028?
Yeah, 2028, top 3 elite quarterbacks in the NFC. If you had the crystal ball today, who are you giving it to?
I'm probably going to say Jaden. I'm going to probably say Caleb. And I'm going to be honest, depending on how the next couple of weeks go, if he's able to get his team through the NFC Championship and through the Super Bowl, and if he comes out with a win, it's going to be hard to deny Jalen Hurts, even though, albeit 90% of his routine is just having grown men push his ass into the end zone. But I'm also looking at who else do we have in the NFC? Do we really think Jared Goff is up there? I mean, I don't necessarily think so. You know how I feel about Jordan Love. I still think the jury's out in Jordan Love. I haven't seen enough to be able to make that determining factor, nor may I ever make that determining factor. Whoever the Vikings quarterback is, I don't really know. Dak is obviously out. Not worried about
Aaron
Dak.
Rodgers, brother. It's Aaron Rodgers. You got to finish the story, bro. You got
That's
to finish the story.
He's got to copy Brett Favre. He got to go be a Minnesota Viking for at least 2 years.
And then go do some illegal things after his career to really complete the story. And then deny it.
Wait. So Brett Favre did Mississippi. So is Aaron going to try to do that to California, or?
Makes sense. Hey, it's the
But anyway, I mean,
we will not poke fun at anything serious going on in the world,
right? But and then, all honesty, like the entire NFC South, I mean, you could maybe make an argument for Baker. If you did, I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you, type thing. Again, I haven't seen enough out of Michael Penix to really believe him. Yeah. And then, honestly, if you look at the NFC West, with the exception of this year, because they finally had a down year and they had a ton of injuries, I don't know if Brock Purdy is necessarily that guy. So that's why I'm going with Caleb, Jaden, and Jalen is kind of one of those. I don't really want to throw him out there, but I honestly, just by processes of elimination, I feel like he's really the only guy left, to be honest with you.
Sure. Now, I have such an interesting one that I think is just a wait and see. I want you to bear with me here. I have, in no order, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, And if somehow, some way he slips to number 3, Shedeur Sanders with the New York Giants.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay.
That's the NFC, right? They're in the NFC. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the NFC. Now,
yeah.
keep in mind too.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I mean, obviously, there's nothing
Might go to Cleveland.
definitive.
Right.
Might go to Cleveland. There's also rumors. Again, we don't know how it's going to go because it's an absolute crap show down there. But there's talks that Jerry Jones might try to get Dion, and if that's the case, Dion might try to trade Dak to move up draft status and try to get Shedeur. So, I feel like that could honestly go there. I could see it though. I do wonder what Shedeur looks like though, because let's be realistic. I'm not super high on Shedeur because I felt like he went as far as Travis Hunter carried him. Like just being 100% realistic, like 100% realistic. He went as far as Travis Hunter carried him. Because you got to think about it. If you have a Heisman winning wide receiver, it's hard for you to not be successful. Like it's hard for you not to be good.
Hard. Right. Like, we'll see Travis Hunter on a 10 and in, go 90 yards. Hey, Shedeur gets all 90 of those yards in the passing stat. You know what I mean? I'm not, when I said, wow, I'm not mad at you. I'm not shocked. That's the first time I've ever heard someone say that openly. And I'm here for it because wow. Like, because what? Was Shedeur in the Heisman conversation? No, you know what I mean? Not legitimately.
I think he got mad because I think he only got up to like 4th, maybe like 4th or 5th in voting for it. But again, I'm like, it's hard for me to try to argue that you're a Heisman when your teammate, ended up winning it, but was also in the top 3 for the Heisman candidate vote.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I think it's that number 3 is very uncertain. It's really going to come down to what happens. Like what are the Broncos? I always have to look at the fucking divisions. What are we rocking with the Broncos? Is that AFC or is that NFC? That's NFC?
AFC West.
Yeah, the Broncos are the AFC West. I know everybody's gonna cook me in that chat, but like I could give a fuck about where the Broncos are. I focus on it right here, right now. Yeah, so I can't throw in Bo in that conversation. There's a bunch of guys who maybe they'll be in the North by 2028, and we don't know that. You know what I mean? Like we could definitely see some trades happen or some free agent signings.
I say think of the maybe. I say Jordan you got to think of the think of the list of the AFC quarterbacks that are there. Right. So you got you got Joe Burrow, you got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar. You've got Tua, you've got Bo Nix, you've got Justin Herbert. You've got, you have CJ Stroud. You may have Anthony Richardson. There's a big question mark on that one. You've got Trevor Lawrence. Like the AFC is absolutely just stacked with quarterback potential.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's incredible to see what could potentially happen for the North. And that's kind of the beauty of the situation that the Chicago Bears are in. Because of the lack of quarterback play in the NFC, I feel like it really is kind of a free-for-all as it pertains to the AFC. And I say that, but even though we see the Chiefs every single year, last night we were talking about the battle of the MVPs, Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, battle of the MVPs. Who's going to win it? Just to come in second place to Patrick Mahomes, the real MVP. Yep. And that's not me taking a shot at Allen. That's not me taking a shot at Lamar. That's just what it's been. You know what I mean? Guys are winning MVPs that aren't named Patrick Mahomes, but at the end of every season, who's holding up the Lombardi trophy? It's Kermit the Frog. So, it's something for me where it's like, in the NFC, it's going to be interesting because where Patrick Mahomes is just running the AFC, and then there's obviously so many other talented quarterbacks. Really, if the Bears get it right, it'll be Caleb's whole conference or Jaden Daniels' whole conference. So that's what's exciting to me. But man, I want to talk to you about Ben Johnson. We've been in here for 15 minutes. I'm very proud of us. We have probably said his name less than 5 times. For Ben Johnson to come into this situation, what do you think was in his mind? What do you think went through the decision from Las Vegas, Jacksonville, and Chicago?
Well, when Well, and for anybody who doesn't know, Mike and I are in a few different group chats, and our buddy Frankie the Yankee pointed it out that he thought that Vegas was for sure gonna be the one. The two that I felt were probably the most realistic was Chicago and Jacksonville, because when you look at all the other AFC jobs that are really all the other jobs that are open, you look at the Jets. It's already been said Woody Johnson's like, yeah, it's up to the coach if he wants to keep the quarterback and wide receiver and Devontae and Aaron. Again, if I'm an OC trying to become a head coach and I'm like, okay, I have the option of a 41-year-old quarterback and a wide receiver that's probably in his prime, maybe going just past his prime. I don't want none of that, because again, I'm gonna be in the same situation as all those other head coaches before me. Same with Vegas. Who does Vegas have at quarterback? They have Aiden O'Connell and they have Gardner Minshew. Neither one of them really stands out to me like, that I can work with that guy as a bridge until I get somewhere else. As well as the Raiders have so much other work that they need. They have 2 tight ends in Maher and Brock Bowers. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot of offense on the Raiders. Your best wide receiver is Jacoby Myers. Like that, you're not really saying a whole lot.
I would even go, your best wide receiver is Brock Bowers. You know what I mean? And like, that's saying something, because like in today's age, like these tight ends are really just wide receivers. That's really where I'm at with it. I'm excited, bro. I think there's so much to talk about. I did just get this message on one of my comments. Bagent to the Raiders. Could you, and this is just me and you shooting the shit. None of this is confirmed at this moment, but could you see Tyson Bagent being an appealing quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders or another team in the NFL? I guess let's not even talk about NFC, AFC. Like, do you see anybody being interested in trading for Tyson Bagent or just signing him?
I think he'll definitely have a signing. I think he'll have an interest. I mean, I feel like it's one of those, it's hard to get a backup quarterback that has had some type of NFL experience overall. Now, who's to say Chicago doesn't keep him just because of the familiarity with the system, the chemistry with the players and whatnot? And I mean, they liked him enough, they kept him on the roster last year, and he was honestly the main backup behind Caleb should anything happen. Yeah. So, I mean, I think the potential is out there for someone to be interested in him. Now, I feel like you could honestly pick between all 32 teams, and I feel like if you said, "Oh yeah, he's going to go here," I'd be like, "Okay, I could see it. I could believe that."
Okay, yeah, I like it. I just saw somebody in the comments just Tyson Bagent to the Raiders. Honestly, I dig it. I think Bagent's really got that mentality to be a part of Vegas. I think he's just such a fun guy. He's a hard kid to work with, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean like mentally, he's hard. Like he's tough as nails. And I think like that's really what you see in Raiders Nation is just a bunch of guys who just love to watch, that grit and grind football. So I think, I don't know, it'd be really interesting to me. I know I got a little off topic, but I was just it clicked, and I was like, Tyson Bagent to the Raiders.
And if he goes to the Raiders, I mean, all honesty, he's got a true open shot of competing for the starting spot. I mean,
who's to tell him no? You know what I mean?
Say Aiden O'Connell ain't really doing anything. It's like, oh man, I feel like he's edging him out. Same with Gardner Minshew. Like, y'all just kind of, don't get me wrong, love Minshew mania, love the mustache, love love the mullet and everything like that. Love everything about it. But I'm like, buddy, the play that goes with it, I can't feel it.
It's a little overhyped, and you know that firsthand as a Colts fan. You love Minshew, but and our guy Randy Jeezy loves him too. But it's like, after week 5 or 6, you're kind of like, all right, bro, like this isn't enough. You can only twirl those locks for so long, until people are like, start fucking throwing the football, bro.
And it's so hot and cold because you watch him and it's like, oh man, we're gonna do it, we're gonna win, we got it. And it's like, there it is. And then the next week, like, we got the win. We're sitting there, we're hovering right at 500. All we gotta do is win out. And she's like, hold my beer, brother. And next thing you know, then they're
just watch me get through this thing. I'm with you. But look, we talk about it a little bit. I don't know if you saw the defensive coordinator that the Bears are likely going to bring in with Ben Johnson.
Dennis Allen
to the Bears, man. How do you feel about that? Because I feel like very similar to Brian Flores, or even a Cliff Kingsbury. I think you're an amazing coordinator, even a Vic Fangio, but as a head coach, I found a disconnect with Allen. And I think him being in this role with the Bears, giving them another pass rusher alongside Montez Sweat, I think some nasty work could be done, and the monsters of the Midway could be creeping back up into the realm of relevance. So how do you feel about Allen coming in and being the DC?
Oh, no, I definitely agree. Because, I mean, you look at and I don't know how often you pay attention to the New Orleans Saints, but the New Orleans Saints for years
I don't.
have been absolute cap hell for like the last 5-6 years. They're almost always over the cap. And even with losing a lot of those pieces, the way that they were able to draft and with him as their defensive coordinator being able to make guys work, they would still have a top 10 defense almost every single year, even though that they were, over the cap and whatnot. So, I mean, to me, it's great. I mean, like you said, there are some guys that are just absolutely built to be coordinators, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because again, like we talked about with Brian Flores, like we've talked about, heck, honestly, even Matt Eberflus, there are guys that it's like, man, they specialize on their side of the ball, and that's what they can do. And it's like, man, you got to be able to have that person that can just tie right in with you to do the other side, because man, we know Flores can't do an offense. We know Eberflus can't do an offense, and that's okay. That's okay. They're great coordinators. But no, I mean, I think Dennis Allen to Chicago is going to be extremely good for the Monsters in the Midway.
I think it's going to be great, man. I'm right there with you. And I think having that conversation is going to be more interesting about free agency. The Bears have around $66 million to play with at this very moment. We got a lot of Bears fans saying in order to go forward, you need to go backwards. What do you think about the Bears bringing back Khalil Mack to pair up with Montez Sweat? Is it too little too late? Or do you think there's a shot at a reunion?
To me, I think it's a little, too little too late, but I'm gonna be honest. I didn't see Khalil Mack's stats from this past season, so I really don't know. I know his first year with the Chargers, he seemed to kind of recapture that youth. But it's also one of those, I kind of have to look at it. What is that cap hit going to look like? Because the cap hit was honestly one of the biggest reasons that they got rid of him the first time.
I believe he would be, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he would be a free agent at the end of the year. But as of right now, 2023 with the Las Vegas Chargers, with the Los Angeles Chargers, he had 17 sacks. In 2024, he had 6. So this was a big drop off. Combined tackles 74 in 2023. Combined in 2024 was 39. So it's a big drop off, Tone. It's a big drop off. We saw a guy go from 17 sacks in 23 to 6 sacks in 24. Is Khalil Mack going to be able to come into this system, which we imagine is going to stay the same, which is the reason why we moved off of him because we were changing systems. I don't know. I think it's a little too late. I think Bears fans, as much as they love Mac Attack, I think it's just, it's time to move on. Just like how we moved on from Urlacher and Pep, you just got to do
it. And plus, I look at this too. You got to think he only got 6 sacks, and you said what, 34 tackles with Joey Bosa on the other side. Like, Joey Bosa's pretty damn good pass rusher. Like, buddy, what happened? What you doing?
Exactly. And that's like my biggest thing is like, I don't know. I think when you look at it for what it is and we break it down, and also I'm so sorry if I'm looking down on my phone, guys. I'm trying to also make sure we get all the details correct in everything we're talking about, because I'm just making up words sometimes. But really looking at it for what it is and saying you're bringing in another guy who ran a similar system to Flus. I just don't think it meshes with what Mac is trying to do. Now that $66 million, Tone, we got a couple more topics before we get out of here, because Tony's got to get back. He's running some NCAA stuff before the title game going on tonight. So make sure you check out Inside the Hoosier Mind on TikTok and social media and YouTube, because Tone's going to have some great conversations later this week. And just like me, we'll both pray to God our audios work because we've been having some issues lately. So we'll keep up to date with that. But let's stay on this $66 million for the Bears. You get the number 10 overall pick. You have all your draft capital. You have $66 million to play with. How much are you investing in both for this offensive line if you're Ryan Poles?
So you've heard me whenever I talk about offensive linemen. If a team lets an O lineman go, it's usually because they're like, we really don't feel like you're gonna provide us the services that we need. Either they're not playing up to snuff, they might have been injured quite a bit. very rarely is it because we just can't physically afford to pay you enough type thing. Like I've said that for a long time. Good teams don't usually let their O linemen go because it's hard to find good O linemen. If it was me, I would probably focus more in the draft, because I feel like the draft, you're going to have a lot of unproven guys. And I feel like with the draft too, you can capitalize on the fact of there's going to be film on some of these guys, depending on who you draft. Now, please, Chicago, for love of God, don't go to another Ivy League school and be like, we found a gym. We found another hidden one in Yale or Princeton or Harvard. Like, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Stanford's pushing out centers right now, brother. Like, come on.
Yeah, don't do that. If you want good quality offensive linemen, go to Iowa, go to Wisconsin, go to Bama, go to LSU, go to Florida, Georgia, Notre Dame. Don't worry about Yale. Don't go to that. You got like 8 schools you could pick from. I guarantee one of them got an offensive lineman that you can draft at number 10. I guarantee it. So that to me is what I would say, invest on the offensive line part. I would say go more in the draft. Now, maybe if there is a dude that you're like, give one last run. I heard rumors that if Dallas lets go of Zach Martin, that he maybe might try to do one more good place. And when he's healthy, Zach Martin ain't bad. He wouldn't be bad if he did like a year rental deal.
Yeah, like, it depends what Zach Martin wants. You know what I mean? Like,
very true.
We got 66 mil. If Zach Martin wants 20 or more, you fucking out of here, brother. I'm sorry, you're just not available enough. And that's the big thing, man. Is Tevin Jenkins is another guy who's going to be a free agent. I'm completely okay with the Bears parting ways with him. It's just the best ability is availability. You are not available, and when you are you really contributing that much? When Darnell Wright is on the field, Darnell Wright is a stud for the Chicago Bears.
Right.
But outside of that, like what has anybody on this line provided? And it's just like it's just one of those things for me where. A Trey Smith is somebody I'm very heavily interested. I know your guy, Will Campbell, is somebody that a lot of people believe the Bears will go after. I don't think he'll be there at 10. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know if you would agree with that.
I say, let me look up the draft, little draft.
Yeah.
Order.
Go ahead. Because the Bears got 10.
Right.
And I could see Carolina getting them. I could see Jacksonville getting them. I could see New England getting them. If a Travis Hunter is gone, or even who knows what the Jets do, you know what I mean? And then you got New Orleans. So if they're rocking out with D Carr, those are several teams that I think could go after one. And then there's Cleveland. No one knows what's going on in Cleveland. But
sorry, this is the only bad part when people just decide that they don't want to put up little mock things of.
No, it's okay.
Or if I don't have the order. So so Tennessee's obviously going to be looking for a quarterback. Cleveland's more likely going to be looking for a quarterback. New York, I'm be honest, New York maybe, but again, Travis Hunter's probably going to be sitting there at 3 more than likely. They're probably going to get him.
Right.
So this mock draft, they have Will Campbell going 6 to the Raiders to try to help shore up that offensive line.
Sick. If I'm a Raider fan, sick.
Oh, buddy, you're going to hate this. So, so this mock draft is made by, who is this mock draft made by? Whoever owns Walter Football website. I don't know who owns this.
But I know Walter. Yeah.
But apparently they have the Bears taking Mason Graham, a defensive tackle out of Michigan, with the 10th overall pick.
Oh man!
Like, look, don't get me wrong. With Chicago's past, I could maybe see it, but again, with Ben Johnson, him being an offensive dude and knowing the O line needs work, I don't see him taking a defensive guy with the 10th overall pick. I
that would be very try hard of Ben to try to be different. I know I'm a little blurry right now, so I do apologize. But no, the team that spent the second least in offensive line in 2024, the team that has drafted 1 lineman in the first round over the last 3-4 years, no. It is not happening. But before we get you out of here, Tone, can you kind of we'll do another live and kind of just dissect the entire thing once we find out who the coordinators are going to be, once it's an official deal. But really quick, man, for you, what's going on with you tonight, man? What's going on in the national championship?
Ooh, I'm just gonna be kind of sitting back and watching because I'm gonna be honest. When I first looked at this game, when I've broken it down on Big Talk, one of the other shows that I do with Sam Sprunger, who's a big Big Ten fan, I feel like honestly it's a coin flip, but I do feel that it's in favor of Ohio State. You have two of the nation's best defensive by far. Notre Dame is fantastic at running the ball between three of their main rushers, between Jeremiah Love, Riley Leonard, and Jadarian Price. They've rushed for over 3,000 yards. Riley Leonard has just barely thrown for over 2,000 collectively. So Notre Dame's very much an old school run the ball first with very power defense to kind of complement that. Whereas Ohio State, they've rushed for over 2,000 yards, but they've also passed for over 4,000. And as if we saw anything out of that Texas game, that defense is stifling. So the spread right now, if I remember correctly, is Ohio State by I think 9.5. I think is the point spread. So I'm leaning towards Ohio State, to be honest with you. I kind of hope it's a little bit closer. I said that Ohio State's probably going to win it by 10, like 31-21 type thing. And maybe Notre Dame's able to score to keep it a little bit close. Sam even thought that maybe they get up to the like 10 to 11 point advantage by one of those last second touchdowns. And it's like, yeah, we're just going to do it to seal the victory type of thing. So I'm personally going with Ohio State, but we'll see how it goes. I don't feel like Notre Dame's quarterback Riley Leonard is going to be able to do all that much to be able to stop this Buckeyes train that's just absolutely on fire and rolling right now.
I like it. You know, as a fellow Irish, I'm going to rock out with the Irish, but I know damn well what OSU is going to be able to do to them tonight. So I don't have a horse in this race. But if I did, I'd put my money on Ohio State. But until then, man, we'll check you guys out later. I got to get going. I see the cat in the background. Goodbye, Mr. Cat. Until then, we'll check you guys out later. Peace.
Give them a shot to do what?